What's going on, H-Town, Houston Rockets fans, no matter where you are? This is Rockets Daily, brought to you by Underdog. We're going to talk about the loss to the Oklahoma City Thunder that I was in attendance for yesterday. Thoughts on this team, what we need to be doing to go forward, and not too much time to really grieve over this Oklahoma City loss. We got the Minnesota Timberwolves in town tonight here for Friday, January 16th. And if you're watching this beyond that date, still stay tuned with us here for Rockets Daily, brought to you by Underdog, where we talk all things Houston Rockets. And I'm not really going to get too caught up. Well, my intention not to go on for too long today, or really just get too caught up in the box score, although it definitely wasn't pretty. Rockets coming off of a 111-91 loss to the Oklahoma City Thunder, and a game that Rockets only trailed by 2 heading into the fourth quarter. J.D. Davidson had a 3-point attempt that could have put the Rockets over, put the Rockets in the lead heading into the fourth quarter, and then tip in, put back attempt failed. I believe it was Amin Thompson, but I feel like if that 3 would have went down, that would have gave the, not saying it would have changed the game, but would have gave the building maybe the energy that it needed. And I'm going to kind of talk about this loss and my thoughts here a little bit together. Overall, the energy in the building just was was disappointing. It was disappointing for someone who's been to a lot of games, a lot of events, and even just the atmosphere with sports in Houston, man. A lot of high school games, and I mean, girls and boys high school basketball games. District, regional matchups. I've been in, felt a lot more energy at times. It just didn't feel like the reigning MVP. And to me, it didn't feel like the reigning MVP and that the defending champs were in town. And just the vibe overall. And I guess, the fans' vibe, it is what it is. But Rockets right now 6th in the Western Conference. Just doesn't feel like, I mentioned it before, and I got that, get the F out of here comment, which I do appreciate as far as things taking time and taking patience. But right now, the city, I think, a little bit checked out. I think that the energy going into the Oklahoma City game, all those road losses, these losses to bad teams, Rockets not looking as dominant even in wins, the injuries has taken a lot of the energy out of things. And overall, when we really look at this team yesterday, not a lot of movement. Not a lot of movement on the offensive end. Really reliant on Şengün and for Kevin Durant to make some tough shots. And Kevin Durant's human, and Kevin Durant has been making so many tough shots for a long time and really being efficient, not forcing shots. We saw a situation yesterday where Kevin Durant put up more tough shots. Guys just really weren't open. The spacing was poor. And Rockets still hung around for 3 quarters, which is, as ugly as this game was, as terrible as the shooting was, Rockets were still in the game heading into the fourth quarter before running out of steam there. But Kevin Durant, 7 for 23 shooting. Not a night that we've really seen from Kevin Durant in a Rockets jersey. I'm not worried about Kevin Durant, but I am worried about, especially when we start to talk about the patience train and the rebuild and all of that. You don't make, and it's, I feel, and we do this show now, 145 episodes or so in, and I know it can seem repetitive, and so please subscribe to the channel. We definitely would appreciate that. But at a certain point, obviously you don't make that trade unless you are planning to, unless this is a situation where you're trying to win now. you don't make that trade. And I know that we're not going to mourn Jalen Green, who's not even playing for the Phoenix Suns. I was on board with the trade. I'm still on board with the trade. Kevin Durant's not the issue with this team, but when you look at this team overall, you don't make a trade like that unless you're in win now mode. And right now, the Rockets, some tough questions that have to be asked with this 2-year window here with Kevin Durant, and how long his prime is, because right now, this is just not a team that's built to win right now. And a lot of it, though, too, and I do want to say this before I get too negative here. We're talking about as of mid-January. And you get Fred back healthy, you get Tari Eason back healthy, and you get Dorian Finney-Smith resembling the type of player that you expect him to be for this Rockets team. Things can definitely change, but right now, definitely missing Tari Eason, definitely missing Fred VanVleet, and Dorian Finney-Smith are going to have to get something from him at some point. Before we just dive a little bit further here, let you guys know that fast breaks, buzzer beaters, and block parties are back, and Underdog is the best place to get in on all the action. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like points, rebounds, steals, and more. Get your picks right, and you could win up to 5,000 times your cash. This week on Underdog, Rockets big game here for Friday, January 16th. Looking at Jabari Smith and selecting higher for points and rebounds for Jabari. Download the app today and use promo code BasketballFan to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. It's promo code BasketballFan. Underdog, make picks and win money.
19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska. 19 plus in Colorado for some games. 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia. And present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/play and get terms DFSTML for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 helpline at 1-878 or text PMI 467-369.
All right, and as we dive into this a little bit more, all right, sorry about that. As we dive into this a little bit more, I think the big question for me is what type of changes need to be made. And even if you don't necessarily think there should be big trades, and I heard some whispers of, and I know it's emotional. I've heard a couple people mention trading for Ja Morant, which I think is a very, very emotional response. I understand. I think that the nightlife here in the city would be more excited to see Ja Morant than anyone, but I think that would be a bad move right now. It's not the. I don't think him and Kevin Durant would mesh up well at all. I don't think Ja's the type of leader that Ja's not here, Ja's not coming here, so I don't want to go on too much of a rant as far as making this about Ja, but there are definitely some changes that need to be made. Even if this team's not ready to win now, even if you want to say we're going to just work on Fred getting back, hopefully Fred's back for the playoffs, work on Tari getting back, work on getting Dorian Finney-Smith acclimated in the lineup and healthy in there on a consistent basis, and let this team and just kind of see what this team can do this year. There definitely has to be some changes offensively because we're not even halfway through the season. And right now, just very, very too reliant on not enough ball movement. Now the shooting has just been horrendous. You're starting to think that, leading the league in three-point percentage for much of the season early on. You're wondering what's more of a fluke, the shooting now or the shooting that we saw previously. One thing that I did like, big thing about yesterday's game that I did like, was seeing J.D. Davidson get substantial minutes at important times of the game and get that opportunity. As we mentioned before, we'll mention it again. If guys are on this team, this roster right now not deep enough to just not see what guys can do. I thought JD looked comfortable out there at times. Now he missed a lot of shots, sometimes it's just that simple. Looks comfortable handling the ball and all of that stuff. Looks the part in a lot of ways. Just got to knock down some shots. 2 for 9. And he had a lot of big misses that could have really helped swing the momentum. I love Steven Adams, but at times, having Steven Adams out there with J.D. Davison, it just really did not help the spacing on the floor at all. We threw in Reed a little bit with JD at the end of the third quarter. I think Udoka right now he's looking for things to work, but I don't like. Then I understand guys are playing at the highest level and all that, but I just don't like the lack of movement, the lack of spacing, and Kevin Durant getting the ball, fadeaways and double teams, just kind of trying to make magic, happen in those different situations. So we talk about what's next, man. A tough game against the Minnesota Timberwolves tonight, but Anthony Edwards is out. Not gonna say that that's something that we should overlook, because that's a very, very dangerous spot, especially the way the Rockets are playing. A lot of Minnesota. This is a very, very good team, and we're gonna probably see some other guys go ahead and step up as we're looking at this game tonight. I think this is one of those games we talk about with underdog as well, where usually you've got to mix guys on more than one team together. Donovan or Dante DiVincenzo, probably a big game, especially rebounding wise for Minnesota. I did like, it was just 5 for 15 at the end of the day. Jabari did hit some big threes. That was nice to see. But we'll see how this goes on a back-to-back. Based off of our recent performances playing for the second night in a row. Not feeling great about it, but that's the great thing about yesterday's loss, is the fact that we get right back on the right back on there. I don't want to say back on the horse, but I guess I just did. Sorry guys, Rockets Daily brought to you by Fan Arch. A little bit of, I'm just kind of going off the cuff a little bit more today, just based off of what I saw live. Let me know what you guys think, man. I have more thoughts after the Minnesota Timberwolves game. We'll kind of tie it all in together. Thanks so much for watching Rockets Daily by Underdog Fantasy. I'll see you guys on the next one.